Hi, I'm David,
I'm Paul. I'm Trevor.
and we're the three co-creators of Power Squared here for a special Power Week in Power Squared vlog. So we usually start these off with talking about the state of the comic book, right? And this week we got 4 penciled pages. That feels a little bit of a tongue twister. Penciled pages from Rachel for issue number 11.
Yes.
And the pages look good, right?
Yeah.
And so we're really excited. And we should get, I assume we'll get the pages by the end of the month, which is a couple of days from now. And then the process continues. And I guess Nina will be sending pages soon because I got an invoice from her. So that usually means pages are coming soon. So that is all moving forward. That's kind of cool. Now we have Trevor here. For 2 reasons. The first is we're going to talk a little. We just saw Avengers Endgame. We wanted to talk a little bit about that because last week we talked about the first 21. Now let's talk about number 22.
Yes.
So, what do you guys think?
I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Right. I'll admit I cried during the movie.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of. Again, you've spent a lot of time with these characters. We're not going to get into any specifics about the film because we don't want to ruin that for anybody that hasn't seen it.
Right.
But it can be emotional if you've seen all the movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you haven't seen the movies. I don't have that frame of reference. So you're kind of on your own if you haven't seen them. It might not make as much sense to you if you haven't seen all the movies.
I personally think if you haven't seen all the movies, you're not going to get as much out of it.
Right.
Like, especially if you haven't seen Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because that's like, this is like the second half of that.
Why are you going if you haven't? Really? I mean.
I had to have seen Infinity War.
Yeah, at least have what are they doing? Yeah. And I've never cried at a Marvel movie before. Got excited and all that kind of stuff, but never cried. So it can be emotional because you have sort of invested in these characters.
Yeah.
A lot of time and treasure, as they say. So yeah, it's a quite a little, if you've seen them all, this is a really nice way of ending it. Though of course Marvel doesn't want to end it. Then they don't even want to end phase 3. There's still another Spider-Man movie coming.
Yeah.
Spider-Man movie coming later this year, right?
Yeah. Far From Home.
Yeah, and then they're going to continue on with phase 4, and I'm sure 5 and 6, and as long as they can keep it going, they'll probably will.
Yeah.
So we liked phase 1, 2, and 3.
Yes. This is like.
Go ahead.
This is like essentially the end.
Now, would you say this is the best of the films? It's kind of, throw that out there, because in some ways this is sort of like everything leads up to this.
Yeah,
and so in some ways it is kind of it's the best of them in that way because it kind of wraps everything up.
Yeah, I felt like it was a really good payoff because it made the investment in all of these other movies feel worth it.
Right.
Like, since Marvel wants like Spider-Man Far From Home to be the finale of phase 3, I would say that this movie is more of an emotional finale.
Yeah, I think Marvel wants Spider-Man to be into phase 3 so you don't think it's over and there's more to come and you have to keep watching these.
Yeah.
So how are we feeling about phase 4?
Well, the way Endgame ended, not saying how.
Yeah.
It felt like the perfect bookend to everything.
Right.
So I'm kind of hesitant to watch anything after Endgame because I kind of
don't want the later movies to kind of affect how I.
Yeah, I put it down to, this is an old reference, but listen to a record. It had two sides. If you really like the first side, like I really liked the first Cars album, the first side, I was afraid to turn it over because I was afraid it would be disappointing. And it was actually a better side, but that's kind of you don't want. It's kind of a fear that if they continue doing it, it'll be sort of like that. First, the pre-trilogy or whatever for Star Wars, prequel trilogy, yeah, that kind of like diminished the Star Wars original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, as we were discussing, we've seen all the Spider-Man movies up to now. Are we willing to walk away from Spider-Man?
Right.
And we've watched him from being really good, Tobey Maguire, to not being so good.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Wow, hope he's not watching. And then and this new guy Holland's not bad, but it's not Tobey Maguire.
Kind of playing anything post Endgame by ear right now.
Yeah.
But so you kind of I'm not sure. And then I've looked at the Phase 4 stuff, and I don't want to necessarily talk about those movies. I'm not really sure those are, you don't know it's Phase 4 until they actually make them, I guess.
Right.
But as they're planning for, there could be some interesting ones in there, but it's sort of hard to feel that I got to be dedicated, spend another 10 years with these characters.
And I'm not really sure what character or arc they could introduce that would like live up to this huge, like, galaxy spanning story arc that they've done with the Infinity Saga.
Right. And if you had seen the movie, we could talk about it more. We could get into more stuff. But since assuming you haven't, or trying to assume you haven't, it's sort of hard to know. But I guess I'm going to take them more movie as they go, as they come. Not again. Doctor Strange, I've always described as sort of like having to take the required class at school, but that paid off. Having seen it, I'm not. I'd have to know that there's this big, huge story arc, and I'm gonna have to want to buy into it before I would commit to watching all the movies.
Yeah,
but we probably will watch them, even though we're not committing to it.
We'll see.
Right. Anything else you guys want to talk about with Marvel and or Endgame? You're asking about quality earlier.
Yeah. Can you compare? I was wondering, could you compare the quality of Endgame to the quality of Infinity War?
Yeah.
And then that also brings up, I guess, kind of the question of can you view the quality of Endgame entirely on its own, or is the quality of that sort of dependent on the quality of Infinity War or all these other movies?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, as we were saying off camera, the quality is pretty much the same and they've done a really good job of, they're all pretty much the same quality as far as production values go. You may not like the stories as much, or the characters, but basically it's hard to, they got really good here, and they got, the budget went down on this one. So I think they're pretty interchangeable. You can take a clip out of one and put in a clip of another, and you don't go, wow, it's not like one's in black and white, one's in Technicolor. They're all, basically they kind of look like they're the same long story. But I think that, and I'd be curious if somebody hasn't seen all the movies or hasn't seen Infinity Wars, what you get out of going to this one.
Yeah.
Because you have to it's really dependent, at least for sure you've seen Infinity War. And if you really want to get the whole picture, you need to have seen them all. And, you could have gone to one of those 24, didn't they have like a 24-hour marathon of all the movies prior to
59
hours? Yeah. But
that's with breaks, I think.
Yeah. But that's over. So, unless I can do that for Spider-Man Far From Home, I don't think they will. Yeah, I don't know. I think you've had to see them all, Roy, to appreciate it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we went through the whole thing where we ranked all the movies, where would you rank Endgame within Phase 3?
Well,
That's a good question.
Well, not having seen Far From Home.
Phase 3 so far.
Yeah, so far. It was more of an emotional experience. I mean, to me, it was. You'd almost have to say it's the best of Phase 3, and maybe the best of the series to me, because it kind of brought everything and all this time you've spent, and it made it seem worthwhile.
It's because it actually referenced a lot of.
Oh yeah, referenced a lot of the movies, and again, I'm still bad with all the character names. So I'm sorry.
There's just so many.
Yeah. But I would have to say it's probably the best of the series, at least Phase 3.
Yeah.
If we want to argue over, I mean, is this better than The Avengers?
The original Avengers?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Because it kind of did more. Like it really pushed what Marvel is willing to do in their movies.
Right.
Like this one was surprisingly dark and serious.
Right.
It still had the Marvel humor.
A little banter.
Yeah. Yes. But they managed to do it when it needed it.
Right.
And it was serious when it really needed it.
Right. And it honestly, it did not seem like it's a 3-hour movie. It didn't really seem like 3 hours.
Yeah, it didn't feel like 3 hours. Like I wasn't looking at my watch every few minutes like I did with Venom.
I did that with Batman v Superman.
I did. We were trying not to drink anything during the movie because it's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And I did make the mistake of thinking 2 hours. Oh, it's pretty close, but no, another hour to go. But again, it wasn't. It did not seem like a 3-hour movie. And,
it's very engaging.
And that's a good 3-hour movie. I mean, you haven't seen Gandhi, but that's a 3-hour movie. That seems like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
We Gone with Women's last 3-hour movie. We saw the
4 hours.
Okay, that was 4 hours.
Yeah.
All right. So
I mean, there's had an intermission.
Yeah, and God bless him for that. But it didn't seem like a 4-hour movie.
Right.
Yeah, and this did not seem like a 3-hour movie, which is a compliment, really.
Yeah.
Because they kept you going, they kept you interested and all that. So anyway.
And a lot happened in it, so it kind of justified the 3-hour runtime.
Right. Yeah. It didn't seem like they're throwing stuff in to make it longer. It just seemed like it needed to be that long to tell the story. So good job, I think, all the way around. We will be reviewing this. One of us will be reviewing this on Trophy Unlocked in the next day or so.
Yeah.
So look for that. But if we're done with that discussion, since the three of us are here, it's one more reminder that we are doing a signing of Power Squared, which we're all wearing T-shirts that say it, next week, Saturday, which is Free Comic Book Day, up at Galaxy of Comics, which is literally just up the street from here. But it's at the corner of Satakoy and Louise. We'll be there. The store opens at 6. I believe we're going to be there at 6. And we'll be selling hard copy printed issues of the first 7 issues of Power Squared. And we hope people will show up for that.
So if you're in the
Van Nuys
area, be sure to drop by.
Yeah, that's right. We'll look forward to seeing you then. So anybody have anything else they want to say?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll take that as a no. We don't have nothing else to say. So
if that's the case,
all right.
If you liked this video, please hit like, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell if you want to know when these videos come out. share this video if you think other people will enjoy it,
Please.
and leave a comment if you have any opinions of your own about Endgame, but also try to keep it spoiler free.
Yes. All right. So until next week, I'm David.
I'm Paul.
I'm Trevor.
And this has been a week in Power Squared.